You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the San Francisco Giants pitching staff was pulverized by the St. Louis Cardinals as they fall 9-4 at Busch Stadium. 4 home runs for the St. Louis Cardinals was more than enough to beat the Giants today, as the offense was inconsistent with runners in scoring position yet again. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Jordan Hicks struggled in the humid heat today as he never found the grip on his signature split finger fastball. Hard pitch to throw when you just can't get a dry hand. In one of his worst starts as a San Francisco Giant, Hicks surrendered 5 runs and 2 homers before exiting in the top of the 5th inning. With the loss, the Giants now have dropped 4 consecutive games. We'll break it all down. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Thanks also for listening on the Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode of Locked On Giants is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. This one started out good for the Giants, man. It feels like forever ago now, the way this game went. But top of the 1st inning looked really good for the Giants. Was one of the first times that they've jumped out to an early lead in the first the way that they did. I mean, Soler drives in a run with a single. Conforto single, plates 2 more. The Giants took an early 3-0 lead there. Soler and Conforto both starting to come around. We can talk about that a little bit more as well later in the show. But Hicks, really the story today, the pitching staff. He got the start out there in his return to the Cardinals, Busch Stadium, where he spent the first several years of his career as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. Only lasted 4 innings, though. As I said, he gave up 5 runs, 2 jacks, 3 walks, only 1 strikeout for Hicks, and 6 hits. As I said, the heat looked to be really affecting him today. Hicks also, who knows if this was bothering him, but we talked about it in his last start where it was also super hot. Dude's a diabetic, and maybe the insulin was an issue. He was dripping sweat and didn't seem like he could get a grip on that splitter at all. You saw in between every single pitch, especially in those long innings, man, he didn't have very many quick innings to get back into the bullpen and dry off and get that hand dry to go back out there. And I mean, after you're up there for a 20+ pitch inning, I don't know if there's a dry spot on that uniform to wipe that hand to get that split finger grip. I mean, it's as I said, if your hands are sweaty and wet, it's an impossible pitch to throw. And he's used this pitch more than any other pitch all season long. I mean, this has been his bread and butter, that splitter. I mean, he's thrown it a little bit less than the sinker, but as far as secondary pitches go, that's been his out pitch, the best pitch that he has in his arsenal. Opposing hitters are only hitting 129 against it. But today, he only threw it 9 times. Dude threw about 90 pitches, and he only threw that pitch 9 times. Only 1 swing and miss, and no called strikes. If that doesn't tell you all you need to know about Jordan Hicks' day, I mean, that dude was not able to control his stuff up there. When you can't control your best pitch, that's tough. And I know a lot of you are going to say, everyone is playing in that same heat. Mikolas isn't throwing splitters up there as a that's not his go-to bread and butter out pitch. So it's not the same. These guys have different skill sets, are approaching the game in a different way. And in the way that Hicks' approach today didn't really translate to working in that hot, humid St. Louis heat. He's got to find a way to adapt, though. He's got to find a way to continue to pitch deeper into games, as the bullpen has pitched the most innings in all of baseball. They might actually saw them briefly take the lead as the most innings pitched in baseball, that Giants bullpen. But then the Brewers did have a lot of relievers throw last night. So I'm not sure if the Giants after today are the number 1 most used bullpen in baseball, but either way, they're either number 1 or number 2 in innings pitched out of the bullpen this year. You don't want to see that. That's not usually a recipe for success for a winning season. And the Giants record reflecting that right now. They're 36-41 after the loss today. They've dropped 4 in a row. They won in Chicago, and since then they've just dropped every single game on this road trip. Giants now have their first losing road trip since that abysmal road trip that just got absolutely stomped in Boston, and then in Philadelphia. Remember, they got swept by the Phillies, and then they went to Colorado as well on that road trip, where they actually played pretty well. The offense actually started clicking after that series. So, I mean, the Giants did respond to their last really terrible road trip with a pretty big win streak. So we can, I guess, only hope that they do the same thing this time around. But it's going to be tough, man. This starting pitching staff is just the walking wounded right now. They need guys to pitch deep into games. Hicks, obviously, today, 4 innings of work is not pitching deep into a game. It's not doing your bullpen any favors. I mean, and as I said, he really struggled with his control. I mean, he hit a guy today. He almost hit a few others. The Cardinals weren't happy about it, which is, I know the Giants and Cardinals have, this rivalry is storied, to say the least. Shout out Will Clark and Ozzie Smith. I always have kind of a hard time with that one, because you guys know I love my Giants. But I also love my Cal Poly Mustangs, and Ozzie Smith is the best baseball alumni, the most Hall of Famer, like most decorated baseball alumni from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So I always kind of have a hard time with that one, man. I got some love for Ozzie Smith, but obviously, Will Clark and the Giants. Will's my guy. I love Will Clark. I used to get to talk to him pretty frequently when working at KMBR 680, and he's just a good dude, fun guy to talk to. One time, Will Clark sent me some pictures when he was out there crocodile hunting or alligator hunting, which I think alligator hunting. And dude sent me a picture of him holding an alligator, holding the mouth shut and just holding it up, out from his body like this. And he said, "This one's still alive." So, I mean, Will Clark, who doesn't love Will Clark? But point being, this is a very storied rivalry, and the Cardinals didn't really like Hicks, the hitting guys today. I mean, I don't blame them. Hicks throws really hard. I wouldn't want to get hit by a fastball from that guy either, but it was very clear that this guy just didn't have it on the mound today, did not have control. I mean, he threw 49 strikes out of 88 pitches. That's not a very good ratio for Jordan Hicks. He only got 4 groundouts today. Also very unlike Jordan Hicks. We're so used to that number being a lot higher in the 20 plus batters that he faced. It's not very good. Hicks, as I said, he had 0 called strikes on that splitter and only 1 swing and miss. He could not find the location on that pitch today, could not grip that ball very well. He exits after 4. He also gave up 2 home runs. The first, after I said that Giants early lead, that 3-0 lead, evaporated so fast, just as quickly as they got it. Goldschmidt, so many Giants killers on this damn Cardinals team. Paul Goldschmidt, a 2-run jack. This guy, does not matter what uniform he puts on, he still kills the Giants. 3-2, Giants still lead then. And then in the top of the 3rd, the Giants responded a little bit. Michael Conforto doubles to plate another run. Giants take a 4-2 lead. Elliot Ramos also had a very nice diving play in the outfield. Conforto, also a little bit later in the game, made a very nice play at the wall, leaping grab to get the out. And it was a big out at that point in time. But it didn't really matter, as I believe that was in the bottom of the 4th, that Conforto catch, because right after that, there was a huge 2-out rally, and it led to a Burleson 3-run jack, which gave the Cardinals a 5-4 lead, and they would not surrender it. In fact, Burleson wasn't done either. Came up with another multi-run home run, a 2-run jack in the bottom of the 6th, gave the Cardinals a 7-4 lead. They could have stopped there, but they just kept piling on. Donovan, home run in the bottom of the 7th, solo shot gives them an 8-4 lead. And then Mason Wynn, the really nice rookie shortstop, only 22 years old, out there in St. Louis. Dude looks like he is going to be a staple there. And I mean, he's hitting up near 300. This guy, probably a Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't know if he's going to win the award, but he's going to be in the mix. People are going to talk about him. He singles in another run, 9-4 lead for the Cardinals, and just kind of coasted on from there. Giants 3 different pitchers gave up home runs today. That's never good. Luke Jackson, who is everyone's favorite reliever lately, his ERA up to 5.4. Sean Jelly gave up another home run today. We've talked about this a lot. Jelly, great great pitcher on the mound. His ERA is 2.52 this year. He's been really good for the Giants. He had 5 strikeouts. He struck out the side in an inning today. But he's prone to long balls. We've talked about it. When he gives up hits, he gives up home runs at a pretty high rate amongst the hits he does give up. It's not he doesn't give up a ton of hits though. So he limits damage as much as he can. But when you run into one against Jelly, you got a chance to put it out of the park. The Cardinals did just that. And it's a bummer that they seem to found another giant killer, Burleson. I think every Giants fan is going to remember this guy for the rest of the season. This dude went 3 for 4 today, 3 runs scored, 5 RBIs, and a walk. I mean, this guy, he came up to the plate 5 times, and he or 4 times, and he was on base damn near every single time he was up today. 5 times. He got on base 4 times. So that's rough for the Giants. I mean, you already got Goldschmidt and Arenado on that team. They don't need another giant killer. Donovan also has just been going bananas in this series. He had a really good day at Rickwood when on the opening game of this series 2 days ago. Weird how the Giants have this weird schedule with the off day in the middle of the series, but with the game at Rickwood, obviously the teams needed an extra travel day. And this Giants team is flat out struggling right now, man. On the other side, we'll talk about runners in scoring position, Giants struggling to hit, and the fact that this team today did the Uno reverse card on us. It's a team that usually only scores late in games. I kind of thought they might get something going. You saw them put some runners on base late in the game in this one in a couple different scenarios and couldn't get it done, man. I thought the Giants were I thought they were gonna have a late game rally like they have been in recent weeks, pretty much all season long. If the Giants are going to score, it's coming after the 7th inning, not today. 0 runs after the 7th inning, 0 runs after the 3rd inning today for the Giants. I mean, very, very, very strange. This was kind of like it's made me think of like the Ray Durham Giants, the Marquise Grissom Giants, where they would always seem to score a run or 2 in the 1st inning and then just do nothing the rest of the game. That's kind of what this felt like to me today. We got to talk about more on the other side. Giants struggling with runners in scoring position. How'd the Cardinals do? A lot better than the Giants. And we got to talk about this pitching staff, man. It is a problem. Keaton Wynn hits the injury list, and a couple other roster moves for the Giants, some that you guys will probably enjoy now that we got Matos back up in the bigs. We'll break it all down on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget. They do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. Easily upgrade your wardrobe with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And they send 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist always sends just the right pieces, and I know the fit is on point. It's like they have Style ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me all that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look and feel really good. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping and returns, exchanges, all of it is always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Now's the best time to get started at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $100 off. That's $25 off your first 4 fixes for a limited time only. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $100 off. stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of signing up. Offer does not include kids fixes. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and the Giants today, they really couldn't get anything going offensively after that first inning. I mean, Conforto did drive in a run later on in the game, but they could not match what the Cardinals did. Hard to match 4 home runs and 13 hits in the game. The Giants did have 10 hits of their own. I think the Cardinals probably should have had 14 hits and taken that error away from Matt Chapman. I don't know how you give an an error to Chapman on that play. That just did not seem like, I mean, I don't think that's a play that you can expect an infielder to make. Nonetheless, it's an error for Chapman and not a hit for the Cardinals. But 10 hits is not bad. 4 runs is also not bad. But the offense, the one thing that they could have done a lot better is hit with runners in scoring position, man. Just 2 for 7. They left 7 guys on base. Soler did ground into a double play as well. It's been tough, man. Estrada left in scoring position twice. Ramos left in scoring position. It's been with 2 outs. It's been a tough go of it this year for the Giants hitters in these moments. I mean, Conforto and Soler both coming around a little bit, but they just can't put it all together. This whole lineup seems to just be out of sorts, man. Like when 1 or 2 guys start hitting, another couple, like 3 or 4, just stop. And today, Ramos 0 for 5. That's not good. Bailey 0 for 3, did draw a walk and get on base once this game. Estrada 0 for 4. Those are 3 guys that you have been depending on all season long, riding these guys all season long. And if you don't have a more complete game from these guys, like from these guys that are expected to be kind of the pop in the lineup. Estrada has just shy of the team lead for home runs. Ramos leads the team in home runs. Bailey has been really good at the plate all season long. Had a 4-hit game the other day, batting .293. None of these guys collected a hit today. None of these guys even got on base today. Didn't draw, Bailey did. Bailey drew a walk, but 1 walk. I mean, a combined 0 for 12. Like that's not very good at all, man. One at bat getting a base runner from those 3 guys, that is inexcusable, man. Like you need to start figuring out how to have continuity in this lineup, how to keep that merry-go-round spinning and get guys rounding these bases. Like these rallies don't seem to happen very often for the Giants. And meanwhile, the Cardinals are out here just busting out 2-out rallies like it's no big deal, like it's nobody's business out there. I mean, the Cardinals looked so much better in these situations than the Giants did today. The Cardinals also 2 for 7 in scoring position with runners in scoring position and left 7 on base. But when you get 4 home runs, it kind of makes up for that. You know what I mean? And especially when you're getting 2 from one guy, and Donovan has just been killing the Giants all series long. It's tough, man. And Hicks, we can talk about the sweat and how hard it was for him to grip that pitch, the splitter, and how much that affected his game. Like you take a guy's most effective pitch out of his arsenal, it's gonna make him a worse pitcher. Obviously, that goes without saying. But it's been you got to find a way to adjust. You can't continue to have a starter go out there and pitch just 4 innings and expect this offense to carry you to a win. That's not what the Giants do. That's not how this team is built. This offense isn't going to be able to score 5+ runs a game, although they have been doing it recently. They scored 4 today, 5 yesterday, 5 the game before. They did score 2 against on Tuesday against the Cubs, but prior to that on Monday, 7 against the Cubs, then 13 against the Angels before that. So the Giants have been scoring runs lately. This offense has been starting to come around. They're showing signs of life. But as soon as the offense, this is the same thing we've talked about all season long. They can't put together a solid, complete game from all different phases. And today, the offense showed up. I'm going to say they showed up. 4 runs isn't a big crooked number. It's definitely not 9 runs, but 10 hits, 4 runs. That's going to win you some games in with this pitching staff, or as we thought this pitching staff would be. But right now, I let me check the chat. I saw my guy Ryan. Giants, one of the worst ERAs in baseball as a team. They have, Ryan's telling me they got the 4th worst ERA in baseball. I gotta double check that. But yeah, the Giants, one of the worst overall ERAs in the big leagues, and it's been rough, man. It's not the bullpen, which kind of was the issue at the beginning of the season. It's been the starters who haven't really been able to give this team a chance to win. I mean, when you fall down 4 or 5 runs, it's tough to tell yourself that you can come back in these games every single day. It's been tough, man. The Giants, I don't know how you overcome a 9-run deficit or a 9 spot on the scoreboard from the other team with this offense. That they just don't have the oomph in the bats. I mean, Ramos is kind of the only guy who's been doing it this year, this month, I should say. But I mean, all over the place, just disappointment after disappointment in this Giants batting order. And I don't know where they turn at this point. They did call up VR and Matos, both collected a hit. Nice to see David VR back in a Giants uniform. He's playing some first base out there, and they're so thin at first base. I think VR's probably got to be the best look over there. I also think that he might be out of options. I don't know if they can send him back down to AAA. So maybe he has one more, but VR is I mean, like running out of options where the Giants can send him back down and pick him back up. So if he could be a DFA candidate at some point this season later on. I would hope that the Giants can find a way to keep him in the organization. David VR's got a pretty solid bat. Defensively, he's a question mark for sure, but he provides something that no other backup first baseman has been able to provide the Giants, which is some pop at first base since Lamont Wade Jr. went down. I mean, they need him back in such a bad way. But Matos back in the lineup. Hopefully he gives them a little bit of a lift. He did collect a hit today. He went 1 for 4, no runs, no RBIs. He didn't strike out, no walks. So, Matos, he was batting 9th today, which was kind of interesting. I didn't understand why he was batting below VR, at least in this order. I mean, I kind of get why you didn't just want to shove him back in the middle of the lineup after being down in AAA for a while. But this dude just won the Player of the Week with AAA Sacramento. He was hitting over 400. Just cleaning up down there. He had 2 bombs in one game a couple weeks ago. This guy has been super hot down in AAA. Hopefully it starts to translate up here to the big league club. But this offense really, they need to start to put it together all as one uniform thing. They really can't do anything right now. And I should say one last thing before we get on to before we move on to the pitching breakdowns of today. But Conforto and Soler both starting to hit is a good sign for the Giants. Chapman also did collect a multi-hit day as well. Chapman, Conforto, and Soler all multi-hit days. Wisely also had a multi-hit day. Brett Wisely just quietly doing his thing at the top of the order for the Giants. I really like Wisely in this lineup, man. He's his average stays up at 302 today. Scored a run as well. I like him on this team. He does a little bit of everything. But Soler and Conforto, if these two guys can start hitting, I mean, you need these two guys to start hitting. I mean, if they don't, the Giants are not going to be a playoff team. They're just not. I mean, they might be in the hunt or battle for that third wild card spot, but come on, man, that third wild card spot is going to be a pretty garbage team that really, I mean, frankly, shouldn't be in the postseason. And the Giants are right there in the mix at 34-41. The Cardinals with the win get over 500 finally for the season, something the Giants would really love to do. 38-37 for the Cardinals. Record-wise, as I said earlier today, 36-41 on the season now for the Giants. Their pitching staff is really hurting them, man. That's really been the thing, the big hamstring with this team right now. We'll talk about it on the other side. Got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Here on Locked On Giants, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's off-season draft, spring training, playoffs, pregame, postgame, it's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Get the licensed tax professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA. Go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that big parlay this season, I really hope that's what happened for you if you call in Tax Network USA. And if you need help filing correctly, call 1-800-549-1000. Again, that's 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked on. See the link in this episode description below for more details. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants fall 9-4 to the St. Louis Cardinals. And I mean, the Giants, They could have hit better with runners in scoring position, but I mean, 10 hits, that's pretty solid for a lineup that's been pretty been lacking those hits a lot of this season. But the pitching staff, man, was just abysmal today. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This pitching staff just looks gassed, honestly, man. Like, we've been saying this for a long time. This bullpen working way too many innings. Jordan Hicks not able to get out there. He gave up a couple long balls today. He's allowed 5 coming into this one. He had allowed 5 home runs over his last 7 outings. After, prior to that, he had just allowed 1 home run over his first 8 starts. Today, he gives up 2 jacks. Hicks seems to be maybe hitting a little bit of a wall. He's thrown already a career high in innings pitched, in pitches this season. He has never thrown the ball this much, and we are only in June. We aren't even at the halfway point of the season yet, and this guy has thrown more pitches than he ever has in his career. That's a big concern for the Giants in the second half, because this is one, I mean, obviously it wasn't a great start today, but this has been one of the only guys that you can at least rely on to, like, go out there and pitch a couple innings on this starting pitching staff. Keaton Winn has been disastrous. Logan Webb is the only guy right now who's able to pitch like into the 6th inning and beyond. And Hicks has done that. He did that a lot in the beginning of the season. He looked great. And we talked how he was just a diamond in the rough find, a great signing. I still think overall the length of the deal, he's got a few more years in San Francisco. We cannot judge a deal right now based on like less than the first like third of his play time throughout that deal. That would be insane. But he's so far some mixed results now. We got to say at this point, he was a grand slam for his first 8 starts as far as a free agent signing by Farhan. But since then, he has definitely taken a step back. I mean, his first 12, his first several starts for the Giants went really well. He pitched 5+ innings in 12 of his first 15 starts this season, but has yet to reach the 5th inning in 3 of his last 4 starts. It's been tough, man. It's really been tough for Hicks out there lately. His last start was a super hot day too, and that heat looks to be impacting him. Maybe the length of innings as well. Today, the sweat definitely impacted his use of the splitter. As I said, coming into today, opponents were hitting just 129 off of that splitter with 28 strikeouts. Today, he has 0 strikeouts with that splitter. It was not very good on the mound today, and that sinker wasn't really sinking very much. He didn't seem to have as much run on any of his pitches. The life just wasn't there. Even the velocity was down today for Hicks. So that's a big sign for me, though. When I see that velo starting to dip, and in that inning, in that 4th inning, when he knew kind of that this was it for him, and he was in a 2-out jam, and he needed to reach back and grab that velocity, he only got up to like 95, 96. That's pretty low for what we've seen from Jordan Hicks this year. And yes, the heat, the sweat, the sweaty hands are going to definitely impact how hard you can grip that ball, how hard you can throw it. But it's concerning to me to see that big of a drop off MPH wise. I mean, from the fastball, when he's reaching back and grabbing for some extra juice, usually he can get right up there, 99, 100. Sometimes he can top 100, get up to 101. But this is, you know, him reaching back and only getting 96 that's a big drop off, man. A 5 mile an hour drop off, 4 or 5 mile an hour drop off is a big deal in the major leagues for a pitcher like that, a guy who really relies on that velo in certain scenarios. He just didn't have it today, man. So Hicks, I want to see another start before I attribute all of this to the innings pitched. I do think that the heat today really didn't do Hicks any favors, but I am very concerned that this is going to be a lingering problem going forward for Jordan Hicks, which is terrible for the Giants because they really only have like 2 healthy starting pitchers right now, Logan Webb and Jordan Hicks. That's it. Everyone else is on the IL. Kyle Harrison, Keaton Winn, Blake Snell, all these guys on the IL, Tristan Beck, Alex Cobb, Robbie Ray. I mean, how many starting pitchers can we be sitting here waiting to come back and make an impact for the Giants? It is, I don't know where this help is going to come from. I think at this point you have to go back to the minor leagues and bring somebody up, whether it's another trip with Mason Black up here in the bigs. Landon Roop could be a candidate once he heals up from that oblique injury. maybe we see Carson Whisenhunt. Maybe it's time. I think the Giants were trying to wait till after the All-Star break, but what do you do now? You're just going to throw a bullpen game every 3 days and then let the bullpen pitch, 5 innings when Jordan Hicks starts? It'd be the only day that there'd be one day a week where the bullpen isn't throwing the entire game or 5+ innings. And that's when Logan Webb starts. And that is not something that can win you games in Major League Baseball. It's a huge concern. The Giants need to figure out some answers for this pitching staff going forward. Tomorrow, it's not going to get any easier for the Giants. They do have Logan Webb on the bump, but they face the Cardinals ace, Sonny Gray, tomorrow. And the sweep is in play. The Giants need to win tomorrow to avoid the sweep on the road. I mean, you can't keep getting swept on road trips. You just can't do that. And I'm not saying losing the entire road trips, but you can't get swept every single time that you play a tough team on the road. The Cardinals have been really good at home lately, though. It's worth noting that they've been one of the best teams in baseball at home as of late. I think they're 11-4 in their last 15 games, something like that. They're super hot right now at home. Been really hot since May. They're one of the best teams in baseball. And they had just a putrid start to the season, but they've climbed back lately, and they're doing the thing out there in St. Louis. The Cardinals seem to always be competitive, even years when people tell me that they're not going to be a good team. I just always kind of have this pit in my stomach that the damn Cardinals are going to be right there at the end of the season in a wild card battle at least, or even battling for that division. But the Giants, man, you need to find some answers. This pitching staff is just the walking wounded right now. It is really tough to find anything going for this pitching staff. It's the reason Giants are losing games. As we talked about, they've really done their job offensively for the most part in this last week or two. They keep putting up good run totals, but the pitching just isn't there to support it. It's not. And they need to have an answer. They need to find an answer. Somebody needs to come help this damn Giants team. I don't know where it's coming from, man. I really don't. A lot of these guys that we're relying on to come back and have big impacts in the second half of the season, Blake Snell, Robbie Ray, who knows if they're going to be able to come back from their injuries and make an impact the way that they used to as former Cy Young Award winners. Tristan Beck, an aneurysm in his arm at the beginning of the season. I have no idea what coming back from that entails. I'm assuming it's going to be incredibly difficult. Alex Cobb has had setback after setback after setback. That guy's just a giant question mark. Is he even going to throw a pitch for the Giants this season at this rate? My God, just so many injuries for the Giants, and Keaton Winn, even if he comes back and gets healthy, that confidence has got to just be in the basement right now, man. He has just been so bad. He's been the hardest hit pitcher in all of Major League Baseball, the highest average exit velocity. It's the wheels have just completely fallen off this Giants pitching staff right now. And Logan Webb is just doing his best Spider-Man impression. When Spider-Man's stopping the train and he's got the webs outstretched onto the building on either side. He's just holding there, being pushed and just hanging on for all his might to just hold on and just hold that train from falling off the tracks. Well, that's Logan Webb right now. Logan Webb, and spiders make webs. Spider-Man, Logan Webb, you get what I'm saying here? And so Logan Webb just doing everything he can to hold this pitching staff together by himself, using a superhuman effort to do so. And I just don't know how much longer that he can do that by himself. He's got to have some support from somewhere. The one good thing about Webby, when he gets like this, you see the look in his face when he goes out there. So I do not be shocked if Webb comes out there tomorrow and just on fire, just running hot from the first pitch of the game. Expect him to be barking at teammates if they make an error. Expect Webb to be animated tomorrow. He is going to take this personally. He's going to go out there and try and get a win. Logan Webb is just a grinder, man, up on that mound, and he's a bulldog, dude. I love Logan Webb, but he can't do it all by himself. You need somebody else to come in and help. You need multiple somebodies to come in and help right now, because the Giants' current strategy is let Logan Webb pitch and then just pray for rain for the rest of the week until Logan Webb can pitch again, which obviously isn't going to happen. But that's kind of the Giants' approach right now, seemingly, with this pitching staff. It's really tough out there. They need some answers. Don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if they have another option other than to bring Carson Whisenhunt up at this point. Bring Mason Black too. Let's see. Let's kick the tires on him again. See what he's got. Hayden Birdsong maybe. He's a little bit further away than those other guys, but we're with the state of this pitching staff, we got to start putting all the options on the table. It's getting to that point in the season, man. The Giants need to start winning some games. it's not completely the end of the world. I mean, I see the chat going crazy. Greg, I see you, my guy, but you can't call it a season pre-All-Star break. I mean, multiple teams remember when the Braves won the World Series? They weren't even in the playoffs at the start of August. They wouldn't have even made the playoffs if you ended the season at this point that year. So, and they won the World Series. So you got to, I know it's hard, but patience, take a deep breath. The Giants are kind of set up ish for to have a better second half than they did first half of this season. I mean, you have all these arms coming back. If Soler can come around and have a better second half of the season, which he kind of does in general, that's kind of how this guy goes in his career. He has better second halves than first. And if Chapman can get going, if the Giants can start really getting some of these arms back, though, that's really the big key. Soler will be a big contributor as well if he can get going in the second half of the season. Conforto too. But the big thing here with this team is the pitching staff. They really need some guys to come back. I feel like there's no possible way that their pitching staff can have this many injuries, this many obstacles to overcome in the second half with everything that's been thrown at them so far this season. We got to wrap up the show. We are way over time. I keep saying this every single day, but we have completely run out of time today. Thanks for tuning in to the Locked On Giants Postcast. We'll come to you live tomorrow after Giants Cardinals. The game starts at 11:15 Pacific time tomorrow, early start for the conclusion of this game as the Giants, or of this series, as the Giants try to avoid the sweep against the Cardinals tomorrow. Thanks for joining the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.